All right, let's talk about Databricks. We're going to break down how it tackles one of the biggest challenges in the tech world today, turning these massive, chaotic piles of data into genuinely smart, reliable AI. So, how do they actually pull it off? Let's get into it. Okay, so here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with the big problem everyone faces with their data. Then we'll look at the Lakehouse solution that Databricks came up with. After that, we'll peek under the hood at the tech, see how it all works in the real world, and wrap up with how this whole thing is setting the stage for the future of AI. So first things first, to really get why a platform like Databricks even needs to exist, you have to understand this core conflict, this dilemma that pretty much every company has been wrestling with for years. For the longest time, the world of data was basically split down the middle. You had two choices, and neither was perfect. You could go with a data lake, or you could go with a data warehouse. And frankly, it was a frustrating choice to have to make. Think of it this way. Data lakes are like a giant, cheap garage. You can throw anything in there, structured, unstructured, you name it. But it gets messy fast. It becomes a data swamp. On the other hand, a data warehouse is like a pristine, organized library. Super fast, super reliable for finding exactly what you need. But it's expensive, and it's really picky about what kind of data it will accept. This split created huge headaches and silos for everyone. So, faced with these two imperfect options, the big question became, why can't we have the best of both? Well, Databricks' whole answer was to stop forcing a choice and start unifying everything into a totally new kind of architecture. And this is the Lakehouse. The core idea is brilliantly simple, really. You take the low-cost, store-anything flexibility of the data lake, and you combine it with the speed, reliability, and structure of a data warehouse. It's one single platform for all your data, no compromises. And this whole philosophy rests on three really important pillars. First, it's unified. That means your data engineers, your data scientists, your business analysts, they're all working from the same data in the same place. No more silos. Second, it's open. It's built on open source tech, so you're not locked into some proprietary system forever. And finally, it's massively scalable. It's designed to handle everything from a tiny startup's dataset to a huge corporation's petabytes of information. Now, a unified platform sounds amazing in theory, but how does it actually work? What's the secret sauce that lets you have that lake-like flexibility with warehouse-level performance? Let's pop the hood and see what's powering this thing. You know, it really boils down to two key pieces of technology that work in tandem. One is all about reliability, and the other is all about pure, unadulterated speed. First up, you've got Delta Lake. This is what brings law and order to the wild west of the data lake. Think of it like a smart transaction log that sits on top of your data, ensuring that it's reliable and consistent. It's the key ingredient that prevents your beautiful data lake from degrading into that dreaded data swamp. Okay, so reliability is sorted. But that's only half the battle, right? To really replace a data warehouse, you need some serious horsepower. And that's where Photon enters the picture. Photon is Databricks' custom-built query engine, and it is a beast. We're talking about a potential 12 times improvement in performance for the same price compared to older engines. That's a massive leap. So how in the world does it do that? Well, traditional engines process data one row at a time. It's slow. Photon, on the other hand, uses what's called vectorized processing. It grabs huge chunks, or vectors, of data all at once. It's just a much more efficient way to use modern computer chips, and the result is incredible speed. And on top of that core of reliability and speed, Databricks layers on some really smart management tools. You've got Unity Catalog, which acts as a single control panel for security and discovering all your data. And then you have newer features like Lake Base and Liquid Clustering that automate all the tedious tuning in the background, keeping things running fast without you having to worry about it. Okay, so we've got the big idea, and we've got the tech that makes it run. But what does this actually look like when a real data team sits down to start a project? How do you go from theory to practice? Well, moving your data over isn't just a matter of flipping a switch. It's a really structured journey. As you can see here, teams go through a whole process of planning, migrating, securing, and optimizing to make sure everything works perfectly. And once the data is actually in the Lakehouse, you need a smart way to organize it. The go-to playbook, the industry best practice for this, is something called the medallion architecture. It's a really intuitive three-step journey for your data. First, raw, messy data lands in the bronze layer, just as it is. Then, in the silver layer, it gets cleaned up, standardized, and joined together. And finally, it's refined into pristine,
aggregated gold tables that are perfectly ready for business reports and analytics. Each step adds more quality and value.
Now, inside that critical silver layer, things can get pretty sophisticated. Teams often use advanced modeling techniques like this hub-star model to build out a super detailed and accurate map of their business. It might sound complex, but the goal is simple: create that single, unbreakable source of truth. And all of this work, getting the data in, cleaning it, organizing it, it all leads us here to the ultimate payoff. Because having a unified, high-performance data foundation isn't just about making better charts, it's about unlocking the entire world of AI. And this is absolutely crucial. You have to understand that this entire Lakehouse architecture is designed to solve the single biggest roadblock in AI today: getting your data ready. You just can't build powerful, reliable AI or large language models on a foundation of messy, siloed data. It's impossible. You need that single source of truth first. And this quote from Databricks really says it all. The future isn't about every company using the same generic AI models. The real competitive advantage, the real differentiator, comes from using your own unique proprietary data to build smarter models that nobody else has. So the strategy to make this a reality for every company has a few key parts. First, you have to make it cheaper and easier for anyone to train these big models. Second, you have to enable companies to safely and securely customize those models with their own private data. And finally, you have to bring it all together, unifying the data prep and the model building into one seamless workflow. So the big takeaway here is that unifying your data is no longer just a nice to have for better analytics. It has become the absolute ticket to entry for the AI revolution. Which leaves us with one final question. Your data is unified, but is it truly ready for what comes next?